But yeah, that DUI, that was a big turning point for me. Really reset the trajectory of my life. Like,
Good.
because I was very unhappy with the person that I was when I took a hard look at myself. And so I still will drink occasionally, but man, it was very rare after that. Really didn't party much. Like,
No longer getting sloshed at parties,
yeah,
going out.
man.
Welcome back to another episode of Networking with Nick. I'm very excited for my guest today. My guest today is a powerhouse in the bodybuilding community here in Wichita, Kansas, and throughout the rest of the Midwest. Not only does my guest host a handful of sponsored elite athletes, he also hosts an annual block party with names attending such as Jay Cutler. Not only does my guest own the Arsenal supplements here in Wichita, he has his hand in a few cookie jars. That resume includes Frontline Formulas, Iron Rebel, and Drink Alchemy. Welcome my guest and friend, Caleb.
Thank you, bro.
What's up, brother?
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, dude.
Dude, thanks for being, I believe this is episode 7 of
7?
Networking with Nick. That's not
All
half
right.
bad.
I feel like you just started too, so you're really getting after it.
I got one today, one tomorrow, one Thursday, one Friday. So I have 4 this week. I had 4 or 5 last week, and then like the first 2 that I just started with.
Let's go.
So I just,
crushing the schedule.
This year is the year of creation. 2024 is absolutely the year of, I used to be a massive content consumer. Just
Sure.
is a professional scroller,
Aren't we
professional
all?
memes.
It's easy to be, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, this year I don't want to do that. I want to consume my content that I generate. Like I've always wanted to start a podcast, but I've honestly just been a chicken shit to do it. And that's, everyone's afraid to kind of start that first step because you don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know who's going to judge you. You don't know.
Analysis paralysis.
Oh,
Sure.
man.
Yeah.
The other day, I put this on my story. I was sitting there looking at the upload button for YouTube. Little button, you can click or drag the file. The file was open on the other screen, and YouTube was right here on this screen. And for 2.5 hours, I sat there and looked at that fucking button. 2.5 hours. And then once it uploaded and I got it in there, another 2 hours for trying to come up with something catchy in the title. It only ended up being 50 characters, but it took me 2 hours to do.
Yeah.
But now that first step is done.
Yep.
And now, like, daily posting's easy. I don't care.
Yeah,
I generally
and the
don't
reps,
care.
you get better with the reps, right? So when I first started this store, I would get in front of the camera and just do the typical, like, you've seen them, right?
Yeah.
You watched me do it for years.
Oh, yeah.
Get in front of it. Hey, guys, what's going on? Like, and man, that was painful. And there are some days where it takes a couple of takes. Like, so we don't always rip it off on the first one, but that's what we strive to do eventually, is where it's very easy because you're just doing it so much that it becomes like second nature. I wasn't really a camera guy or wanting to be in front, but someone had to be the face of the store. And then really at some points I've been the face of a brand or two. Like, so you just, I think you have to step up and show people what you're doing. If you want people to jump on board with you and kind of cheer you on, it's going to be when they see you doing stuff, not just like, hey, I did this one time, and like they're going to keep cheering for you. Like your family will, obviously, but like if you're going to attract a crowd, attract people, get people to take notice and get to be, you want people part of the movement. Like you got to show them. I just talk about with everybody, just show what you're doing. I talk about this with stores and with other guys trying to start their businesses. Like, I think that's the biggest part. If you don't show people what they're doing, how will they ever come buy from you? How will they know who you are? Like, let's face it, people buy from people. People patronize people's businesses that they know, and they know what they do. So
absolutely.
How do they do that unless they don't know you?
Now, I wanted to know, are you a Wichita local? Are you from here?
I'm from Hutch, so I'm just like 45 minutes down the road. Yeah.
So then why did you migrate from Hutch down to here? Why didn't you stay in Hutch?
So growing up in Hutch, I still like, it has a fond spot in my heart, but like I just didn't see myself being there. I couldn't see, like I had no vision of that. So I moved over to Wichita, went to WSU after I did my first 2 years at JUCO in Hutch. So I just didn't feel like I saw a place for myself in Hutch. So I moved over here and really just kind of like just made sense, honestly, to me. And I've always just kind of made this home base. I've been here 13 years. Yeah. So met my wife here. We've had our first kid here.
Congratulations. It's just recent.
Yeah. She's almost 5 months old, closing in on that. So
I bet that is a handful. Actually, I wanted to ask you, what has it been like? You've been in the industry of entrepreneurship, for probably what, almost 4 years, 5 years.
4.
What has it been like now, juggling a toddler on top of it?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this with some of my other friends that are entrepreneurs, but it's like nothing really prepares you for it. You're basically just forced to utilize your time better. And whether you're tired or not. I mean, pretty much lately she's been sleeping through the night one night and then up every hour the next night. It seems like it's just all over the place. And so
Yeah.
like last night was okay. She had some longer stretches but I mean, she woke me up probably at like 5:15 this morning, and after that there was really no point in going back to sleep. So I stayed up and then fed her and then came into the office early and then had a couple calls, and I was ready to, do this with you. So it just, you never know how each day is going to go. Like, and you just have to roll with the punches. And
Yep.
um, I'm gracious enough to have customers at the store that understand, and business partners and the brands that understand, like that my schedule is not going to be not necessarily a straight like 8 to 5 like a lot of people's are. Like it's all over the place. I had my first call with a customer this morning at 6:30. So
Right.
like, and I was lucky enough they were on a schedule to work with me like that. So you just have to make use of your resources, make the most out of your time. I mean, and it's something a lot of entrepreneurs already do anyways, or learn they need to do very quickly, but it just puts a whole different level of urgency on getting the stuff done you need to get done and being super effective every day. Like that's what I'm learning.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of power in the word no when you tell people no, especially like as an entrepreneur. Have you started saying that word a lot more now that you're also a business owner and a father? Oh no, can't come to that event, can't come do this.
Yeah, I mean, the no's have, after a couple of years of business, the no's have come out more steadily, a little bit more. But I'm a salesperson. I'm a people pleaser. Like I want to make people happy. That's, I mean, a lot of what I talk about. I think if you've seen any of my content is about being of service. I talk about it almost on a daily basis because it's a way of life for me. And so that involves a lot of saying yes, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And I think we have to be cognizant of how we do spend our time. It's a
Yeah.
valuable resource. Like, and I used to just be like, yeah, I'll show up to everything because I mean, I needed to, or I didn't have, Kelsey was fine with me traveling, or she said she was fine with it. So, but yeah, I mean, I would be gone for 2 weeks at a time sometimes when I first was
Right.
out. Like, I would, before I did supplements, I did aviation fueling equipment. So I travel airport to airport,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
I would go to supplement stores in the evening. I just started the store. And so I'd run the store remotely like I do now when I'm gone. So I had some experience. We've done that for a long time. So we have a lot of experience with not being at the store and still having it perform usually pretty well. Like, but that is it's a different approach. A lot of people have a hard time hacking it. It's more expensive than just keeping things super lean and running it yourself.
Right.
Like this last quarter, I didn't travel a lot because of Lila's birth and wanting to be home with Kelsey. So I did take more shifts here at the store. I always want to take shifts at the store every week that I'm here so that I'm in touch with the customers. I still have
Absolutely.
those skills, so that when I do visit my other store customers, I can get on the floor and sell and help out, like if they need it. Um, but yeah, so I ran the store really lean in quarter 4 last year, and I've been here a fair amount quarter 1, but I would say really things turn up for me this month and next month, and really busy season is upon us for events, and
Yeah.
you want to be out and seeing your customers nationwide. So, but yeah, so I've had experience with traveling, and I would go, from doing these regional trips when I first had that aviation fueling equipment sales job to week trips. I mean, that's about as long as I will take now, but I mean, sometimes it would go 10 or 14 days before I had Lila, just because it was like, I'm just going to hit as much stuff as possible.
Right.
I think the longest trip I ever took was 15 days, and I drove Kansas to Connecticut and back, and I took one route there and one route back, and covered a lot of the Northeast, and hit a lot of different things along the way. But next week I'll go to the Arnold Classic.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
So yeah, but like for a route like that, I'll go Wichita up through Nebraska to South Dakota, then over to Minnesota, Wisconsin, down around like Illinois, Indiana, and then to Ohio. And I'll do that basically Monday through Thursday to get there. So I'll cover a lot of ground those first few days, see a lot of my customers, see a lot of prospects. And
Right.
yeah, that's really what I love to do, is get out on the road and help stores and just, enhance their business.
So on those journeys, how important is networking then?
I mean, so from
That's pretty.
someone who had a zero like no head start in this industry, had no experience beyond just taking supplements and working out, like just loved what ingredients could do for you.
Right.
Ingredients drove my passion of the store and kind of what we do here, and then what I do in the industry is really been through just that love of what ingredients can do for you and what different ingredients and supplements like can help with. So I mean, I basically went in 3 years from not knowing anybody to like you said, we had Jay Cutler here at the store. We were blessed to do that.
That was so much fun.
You know, we're blessed to have John Meadows here.
Right.
A lot of different Sergio Oliva Jr., a lot of different bigger names in the industry within the first couple of years, simply through networking. Within the first 6 months of opening the store.
Oh, wow.
I helped found basically like a co-op group of stores. We got about 30 stores together, and we would do group buys through certain brands and kind of leveraged our relationships, because we weren't the biggest game in town, nor are we now, as far as like we don't have a million locations and we haven't been around for, 20 years.
Right.
And we just kind of do our own thing. As you can see, we have our values above us. We've always talked about those since day one: honesty, quality, and family. That's
Hell
really
yeah.
what we run the store
I love
by. Really just run the store by those things first, and the money has always figured itself out. And I probably started this in a more difficult area for this category than most people would have, but just kind of hung tough through the first couple of years. First year was a mulligan with a different partner that just wasn't, as invested as I was. So I bought him out.
I know how that feels.
And then moved the location here, and really just, was able to treat people well and keep people coming in, and we've excelled really after that. So we've been really blessed. People have just trusted us and stuck with us, and we've been able to give back to the community by doing these events, bringing these people in. But the networking it took to have the events was, I was paying my own way to go to other people's events to see how they were run, to get those relationships and just really figure it out. And that's what drove a lot of my early networking, was trying to figure out how other people were excelling, how they were making money, how they were getting people in the door. So
replicating what they're trying to do to then turn it into your own.
Yeah, a little bit, and just trying to offer value to them, in a market where maybe they wouldn't have gotten placement for their products, or, connecting them with other opportunities and other stores. I had, like I said, within 6 months, I knew 30 stores, and just to collaborate with, I didn't have any categories really to work with them on, besides I worked with Iron Rebel very early on. They brought me on, and they took a chance on me. Luke, shout out to Luke Carroll. He took a chance on me. And after that, really things started to happen, just because I was able to turn their wholesale business into something that actually had some legs. So, and then after that, I ended up going to work for Granite Supplements.
Yep.
John Meadows brand. Did that for about a year and a half. And then last year, I was kind of frustrated, and we decided to part ways, because they had a different approach than kind of to the stores and supplement business than what I was advocating, which is extremely retail friendly, brick and mortar friendly. I partnered up with my partners now that I'm with at Frontline. So there's basically 4 of us. We all are store owners. They own a super successful chain called Southern Nutrition, and they have this brand, this Frontline Formulations brand, that's really brick and mortar based, retail based, and just had a lot of synergy with them. They saw that, I'd created a lot of relationships with Granite and Iron Rebel, and Drink Alchemy. Even at that point, I've been about 8 months in there, I think, at that point. So, just said, we really think you're the right person to come in and help enhance our store business. And it was pretty much a perfect fit, as far as us having a lot of the same objectives, totally different sets of contacts and coverage. So kind of plugged in, helped retool what the brand looks like a little bit to kind of get some of the new labels that you've seen, and really just enhance the placement. I think we opened 70 new doors last year. So yeah, the new Testaplex. Yeah. Did you try that? Tell me what you think.
I still have it sealed. Only because I haven't been back to the gym yet. And I feel like it would be a waste if I started just doing the dosage and then not going to the gym.
Maybe the dosage would make you go to the gym.
That's, you know what? I didn't think about that. But yes, Texaplex. It's still sitting. I still have a bottle of it. The only reason I haven't tried it yet is the sheer fact that this year I've been committed to the podcast and content creation, and as I figure out what the flow of that is, I do. I mean, you knew me back a couple years ago when I weighed 205. I'm down to 160 natural weight before I ever worked out. I don't like it, so I
Yeah,
do want to get back in, and it's been a very difficult thing just on this path of being an entrepreneur. Sometimes you ain't got the money to go work out or have a gym membership, so you got to do stuff at home. Sometimes you
sure.
just get complacent. That's the biggest killer right there, is
The complacent
complacency.
is killer. Yeah.
I mean, you're
Having the kid has definitely changed. Like you said, the amount of time available to do things totally changes, right? So,
yeah.
and you're like, well, like, and you start negotiating with yourself, right?
Oh, dude, that's
So,
what, and then that's when things start dying, is when you start negotiating it
yep,
with yourself, and it sucks because you do have to figure out what's going to fill the time. What's more important, push the needle forward, the kiddo, or going to get a lift in?
yeah, it's a tough set of decisions. Like, so, I mean, we're trying to settle into a schedule, like maybe where I can go every other day. But yeah, there have been weeks where I haven't gone, like, and as someone who loves going, like, it's annoying, but some days you're like, I mean, you have to put your nose to the grindstone in the office and get it done. But I mean, my biggest thing is like the negotiation with myself, like, and we make time for what's important,
Yes.
like, and we like, and owning whether the result happens or not, right? That's tough. Like, and so it's just kind of a know thyself, don't negotiate with thyself type of
Make that
approach.
contract and stick with it, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
mornings, there's some mornings, where you wake up and, like today, dude, it was so comfy and warm in that bed. It was nice and
Mm-hmm.
dark in the
Sure.
room. You run out of motivation sometimes.
Yeah,
What is it? My firm belief is motivation will get you started, discipline will get you to the end.
yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that. On those days where you don't have those motivation, how do you dig deep and find yourself to get up to get the job done?
I think definitely that having a kid brings a different type of motivation into the mix because you're
100%.
responsible for their well-being, right?
Yeah, you go, oh, I got to
And
make sure you're fed.
if I don't perform, I was already responsible for Kelsey when we got married, and even before that, we were together for 4 or 5 years, and so I felt that responsibility to make sure that you can provide,
Yeah.
and so just, I mean, you have to execute. You don't have a choice, I think. And if you don't, it's about not giving yourself a choice, going back to the negotiation thing.
Yep.
Like, need to get XYZ done today, need to get X amount of customers called or, on the road. Like, this is the game plan. We're going to visit this many locations today. Based on the conversations, we might have a little flex, but like, we're going to go the extra mile. And even if a store isn't closing till 8, we're going to show up at 7 and see who's there and still talk to them,
Absolutely.
because like that type of stuff is the differentiator, and so like 2 weeks ago I was on a trip, and it was a Monday, and I stopped in and at this place at about 7 o'clock, and the owner happened to be there, and so we talked for the last hour while he was open. I think we'll get some placement there. Great
Nice.
conversation. Had never been able to meet him before, and I'd stopped by at least once before, I think, there. So but that type of stuff makes all the difference. So like, when I get on the road, like that extra mile, like I'm always like trying to go that, and I kind of enter a different mode of work when I'm out there than
Yeah.
when I'm here, kind of bouncing back and forth between working at the store some, being in my office and doing frontline, the other brands, and talking with my customers and helping out at home a little more. Hopefully, try to go home for lunch every day now,
That's
and
good.
so sometimes we just order Uber Eats to the office, or
Hey.
whatever, or bring food with me. I keep a lot of tuna packets here, so
Whenever you need it,
um,
man.
yeah. So, but yeah, it definitely is. It's really, I mean, the motivation does come and go, but
Oh yeah.
I will say that like, you're a product of what you put yourself in front of. And so like, as far as like consuming content, like I used to post a lot of motivational content. That's because I would watch a lot of motivational content. So I found that when I haven't consumed that content, even if it's playing in the background, that um, I haven't been as motivated. Like,
Interesting.
and so like, I kind of had made a commitment to myself recently that like, there's some, there's some videos that I feel like are even kind of, it's, you could just listen to on an MP3 or whatever. I guess that's an old school term now.
Yo,
You could stream it.
you can stream it
And
MP3.
I know
That's
there are
funny.
some just things that I feel like it's almost like a daily affirmations thing that you kind of need to hear, like, dig deep, do what you need to do, like, go the extra mile, do the things that other people won't, like,
Yeah, 100%.
and I feel like there's some power to that. Like, so I'm a big believer in that, not just like raw stuff, but um, stuff that specifically kind of gets intentional with like where your mindset needs to be some days when you don't have that, and getting out
Yeah.
of bed is one of the hardest things. Like, it really is. Like, I will stay up late and work, but man, getting out of bed in the morning on certain mornings, it's very difficult. Like, not blowing through your alarm. That's always something where I've struggled
Snooze,
with. Yeah.
snooze, snooze.
Like, my natural rhythm is really not to be up and about until like 7:30, 8:30. Like, and when I went from a traditional job to entrepreneurship and having a flexible schedule, like, I found myself working more late into the afternoon and evening, like past when most people would get off work, than I would getting up early in the morning. And I think a lot of that, some of those differentiations for people happen when they make more time in the day. And the morning is when I have to make more time now. That's just the facts for me in our schedule.
When you started your business or started getting into business, did you think, because I didn't think this, like, did you think that amount of hours was needed to get the job done? Because when I started the window cleaning business, I had no idea what I was truly getting myself into. I knew how to hustle, I knew how to door knock, but I didn't know the true time commitment behind scenes to get to run business. And that was just a small window cleaning company.
Yeah. And doing the books and whatever else, and like, I hand all that off, like, because that's just not my wheelhouse.
And that is, I think, key too as well, because it gives you
Learning
that time
what to
back.
do, what not to do. Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, I think we have a tendency, a lot of us, that we have a tendency to hold on to all the tasks because we're like, dude, if nobody does it, nobody else can do it. Like, they can't do it right. Like, I don't trust them or whatever. Like, no one's going to treat the store like it's theirs because they don't own it. And so, like, you
can't expect them to treat it the same.
No, you can't, unless you make them a part owner, you do, profit share or whatever. Like, so that's a difficult part of it. But yeah, you have to get some other tools, and I think, the accountant relationship is important, bookkeeper relationship is important, having somebody on your team for finance and understanding what makes sense for you to invest in and what makes sense for you to borrow money for if you're really looking to grow and if you have the right, type of momentum and business opportunities in front of you, and when to hold back and say, hey man, like, I don't think this is somewhere we extend any further. I mean, so
when to say no again.
Yeah, when to say no. Absolutely. So
God, so powerful.
But yeah, it's you have to have some other players on your team, and a lot of times that won't be somebody in house. You'll have to find the right person to hire, and bring on, to help your business. So, but I think you learn pretty quickly between, when somebody has your best interest at heart, what their advice is going to look like most of the time. Because you hear things from other people, and, if you're seeking to get better, I think we're always going to be students. So you'll be listening to key in on what's going to be right for you, and who else in your business is doing it right. I mean, for me, I've sought a lot of mentorship, like from people who have a lot of more experience than me in the industry, because a lot of my success has just been trying to outwork, a lot of the other people, like, and, now it's really gotten to, okay, like, now that I know how to work hard and what we need to do, as far as an effort, like, okay, like, how do we channel that, and what ways can we grow,
tactically?
Now you
start looking at tactically of hard work. All right, what do I need to work hard on? Like, this is, we can put this on the back burner. This can wait a moment. This is very important. Let's make sure we do that. It's picking the things too as well.
Sure.
When did you decide that it was time for you to go into your own business? What path? What put you on that path?
When I got into sales, the aviation fuel and equipment, we had some really big deals come up, kind of solicited, and worked really hard to try to get those to go through. And ultimately we were controlled by upper management, and you only had so much autonomy, right? And I think at that point I realized that I was only going to make X amount, and I was going to have to do things their way, even though the commission was uncapped. That was great. I appreciated that. But just the way that they would bid, like jobs and stuff, they would control what we could bid and what we could do. And so we just, at some point, me and my boss both were very frustrated with that. And I just decided I wanted something of my own.
Okay.
And I always knew that I had wanted to work for myself at some point. It wasn't in my mind until after about 3 or 4 years in like traditional jobs after college. But yeah, I just had this idea in my mind that like was going to have something that, you know, I owned, I operated, I ran, you know, and I controlled. Never didn't really have a thought of like making money from it. Like that
Right.
wasn't really the like I'm gonna make a shit ton of money doing this. That really wasn't the reason why I got into this. I got into this because I was interested in the field. And
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
think for a lot of people, they start businesses, and there have even been people in our field that have started stores because they're like, well, you know, you don't have to love supplements. You just need to be good at sales, and you'll make a shit ton of money, and you can do whatever. And I think that people like that, like that don't truly have a passion for this, won't be in the industry as long as somebody maybe like me that really enjoys, you know, the industry at every level, from selling here at my stores to my customers and helping them with their needs, to helping stores help serve their customers better, to helping a brand serve its customers better, you know,
right.
XYZ and so forth. Like every ladder up the chain, like I'm able to be a part of now and just really enjoy every single facet of it. Um, you know, and still network within the industry very actively, like willing to go, you know, put my own money on the line for travel to go be in the right places. Like, so,
Sometimes
um,
it's like paying your way in to get a room into a room. That's perfectly fine. I don't know why people don't do it more. Like, I mean, I was part of a national networking group where I paid $1,000 a year to be a part of, and it's
mhm.
sometimes paying to start your way to get into those rooms are the best way because then you can get invited to them after you've at least been in them once.
Oh, and if you're paying your own way, you're for sure going to make the most of the
Oh
opportunity.
yeah,
Most of the time, it's going to force the timidness and the shyness and whatever else you have holding you back, the imposter syndrome, out of
yes.
you, and force you to get uncomfortable. Right? Um, I think, yeah, I had to work really hard not to be a fanboy when I first met Jay.
How is
Um,
the
so, like,
go into that a little bit? I'm
I
curious.
think I wanted to make sure that when I would meet people that you know, had a lot of visibility or were people's heroes, like definitely somebody I looked up to when I was coming up, like in the gym, and I was like, man, like this is so cool what he's been able to accomplish,
His
right? And
thunder stomp.
so, yeah, the quad stomp,
The
right?
quad
Super
stomp.
cool, like, and
Ooh.
you know, at the end of the day, all these people are people just like we are,
Yeah.
and so not to belittle the accomplishments or anything else, but like, you know, they have their own things they're trying to do. They have their own problems. They have their own lives, and so like, I just wanted to come up and when I would be introduced to them and when I would interact with them, to figure out how I could show value to them.
Right.
So whether it was industry perspective, or just, you know, hey, there's an opportunity to work with my store, like at a base level, like, and being able to commit to bringing in products and make it worth their while, and have a visit like, you know, like we did from him. That was something that I went about with a lot of like deliberation, not just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like I was thinking that, but I wouldn't let that come out of me. Like, you know, and I definitely admitted it to some of my friends that had known me for a long time. Like, this is really cool, but like to everybody else, I would be like, yeah, like it's a
Solid
blessing.
as a rock.
It's a blessing to have him out here. It truly is, because that's how I felt about it for our business and for the community. Great access to the community, to have an event here that people don't have,
Right.
to have somebody like him, for people to come meet their hero. That's what I experienced at events. I would go
Watch
and
the
I
mic.
would be serious. Oh, sorry, I don't want to. What I had experienced at events, I wanted people to experience, and so when I would meet these people, I'd just be real deliberate and try to figure out how to show value, or like get a solid commitment together to show them value, so that it wouldn't be like, you know, this fanboy wants me to come out to the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and come to his store. Like, you know, I wanted it to be upside for them and upside for us here,
Absolutely.
our customers and the community. We made it a free event. We didn't charge for people to see him.
Mm-mm.
We didn't ask for sales. People, you know, bought stuff and supported us. We're extremely thankful for that, for our customer base and for anyone that visited that did support us. Like, but we still have people that come to us and we're like, man, I remember when Jay Cutler was here, and that's super cool. Like, to
Right.
be a small part of somebody's journey and be memorable in the fact that we help facilitate that. That's really what I wanted. So the
It,
appearance game has kind of changed now. Like the prices have, you know, changed on what they want, and obviously social media has really changed the industry overnight. You know, you have people that were fairly unknown becoming extremely popular, like Alex Eubanks or Sam Sulik, and some of these other guys that really, you know, don't have a full bodybuilding career or a fitness career like to speak of. They got famous because of social media, and I think it's amazing that a platform can do that for you, can let you reach so many people. Like, and I'm sure that's part of your aim with the podcast is,
Yeah.
hey, like who can get value from my segments, you know, number one, and also show what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
So
Documentation over content creation. Gary Vee's been screaming at the top of his lungs
yeah,
for the
I love
last
that. That's
fucking 15 years, and it's true. It's true. If you were so stuck on trying to like stop beating your head against the wall to try to figure out what you want to film, just document what you're doing every day.
yeah, I
Put the
think
phone up, put it on a goddamn stand, hit the record button, man. Throw a mic on, walk around your office, be crazy, just let it show. You get to choose. That's
yeah,
that's the important thing is you can record everything. You
sure.
get to choose what is published.
Yeah, of course. I think there's something super authentic, and I think I've tried to work hard at this is when I'm on the road, like, here's where I'm going, here's what I'm doing, here's what the brand's doing, like, and to kind of give people some insight into what it looks like. Because we love to consume content. Like, and there are people that in our industry that I watch because they're doing something similar. Like, so I just figured out, you know, what do I think people want to see? Not really, like, but I have an idea now because of so many people that react to what I post
Mm-hmm.
when I travel, and I've been pretty transparent about how things go. Like, you know, not trying to show only the bright spots. We tend to highlight the positive things, right? But I actually have some more negative and or more truthful pieces that I have been holding back that I recorded when I first started the store.
So a couple of
Like
years ago.
a couple of years ago, I actually was putting one together last night. I think I'm going to post it this week, and it really just talks about. Um, I sat at the store all day. Nobody came in,
Dude, do it. Because
and
that's so fucking real
like,
though.
and now like, and it was on a Sunday, and now like back then I would have killed to do half of what we do on a normal Sunday. We've been blessed to. I mean, we're open after church. That was always an important part, family, right?
Right.
So, I grew up going to church. A lot of people in the Midwest like go to church, and so I want to be really respectful of that time. So we decided to be open 12 to 5. When we first started, we were 12 to 4, and man, we were sitting out at that store sometimes here when we first started in this location, and gosh, we might see one person or wouldn't see anybody, and so that was tough. That was a big first 2 years. That was really tough. Some days we had zero sale days, and um,
Tell me a
we
little bit about
we haven't had a
those.
zero sale day in like 2.5, 3 years now, I think.
Those days though, those dark days, like how important were those days for you to grow?
I think you have to experience them. Um, a lot of times I like to joke and talk about difficult things that we do or are forcing ourselves to do to build character with
Right.
my wife and the employees and my friends and stuff. And but I really believe that concept. Like I think like, you know, embrace the suck, doing the hard
Yes.
things, like all those cliche terms are very true because they come from a place of you being extremely uncomfortable. Like, you know, and retail is a very interesting business that you can't always track. You can track it to some degree, but you can't always project where you're going to go, even after a couple of years in business sometimes because the market is volatile. Obviously, retail is struggling right now with the inflation. Whatever they say in Washington, that's fine. But I mean, we've seen massive price increases on
Yes.
in our business, and if anything, I'm making the same or less margin than I was before. You know, because we want to keep our stuff competitive, and I want to serve people at a high level. And you know, we're talking about our category as a discretionary income category, so we're not at the beginning of people's list; we're at the end of their list. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't prioritize health and don't prioritize making a change until they have to or they're forced to. So we're trying to help preempt that. And so sometimes that just leads to it being more difficult. You know, we're seeing people's spending patterns change from multiple products to, you know, one or two products instead, or even one down from 3 to 2 to 1 products just because they only have X amount to spend and they're going to prioritize it on one or two things, you know. So I would much rather sell a multivitamin and a greens to somebody and get their digestion right than a pre-workout.
Yeah.
But everybody sees pre-workout as essential because we all think we need caffeine. I say that after already having had a coffee
Yeah, I've
this
had a
morning
cup of coffee
and probably have a drink here in a little bit. But yeah,
you just had a kid. It's acceptable.
yeah.
I'm gonna give you a pass.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you a pass,
running on a
man.
little bit lower steam or lower sleep for the most part.
Dude, with my kid, I got so lucky.
Mhm.
Like he would only wake up in the middle of the night just to eat. Wasn't fussy, never colicky. After about 3 or 4 months, he slept all night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got so lucky with my kid. I really did.
How old is he?
He's 9.
Oh my gosh.
He's about to be 10
That's crazy.
in July. Dude, I honestly cried the other day about it. Just because, I just watched him ride his bike the other day because he's now standing up on like a, BMX bike and like,
Yeah.
dude, it's so, and I just yesterday the motherfucker was, changing diapers and shit. It flies fast, dude.
It's already flown pretty
fly
fast.
by so goddamn.
I went from being able to hold her almost in one
like
hand.
this, yeah, almost
she
like,
was, she was preemie.
Like
she was a month. It was 4 weeks preemie to the day, and we got a week stay in the hospital and all that stuff and special care to get her up to speed. And dude, she has not missed any meals since then. She's getting big. Like, it's crazy. We were just talking about last night. Me and Kelsey were about how much she's grown and how, I mean, this kid is like almost 17, 18 pounds now. Like, she's not missing any meals, and it's like, picking her up instead of just
look at the two who made her, man.
Yeah, you have to understand though. We both weren't like, we were both like tall, like, but we weren't necessarily like big. Like,
yeah, I've seen some old photos of you.
We put on a lot of mass.
Now.
I put on a lot of mass after college, like during and after college. I didn't really discover that I loved working out until college. So,
okay.
But yeah, honestly, over like a 7 or 8 year period, I put on almost 100 pounds. I went from 200 to 300.
It takes that long.
So, and I was enhanced. Like, there's no secrets. Like, but I just went about it in what I felt like was a safe way to do it. With not really doing crazy dosages, just titrating things upward and then taking a break and just kind of really methodical about it. Like, and a lot of the stuff that we sell in the store is stuff that I took, preventative heart, liver, TUDCA. Things like, while you're enhanced, you have to keep your blood markers in check. So I took a lot of the supplements that we sell, and I sell them because I believe in them. Like, truthfully, we formulate products at Frontline that, like, I believe work for people, and work for stores both. Like, so we've done some amazing things. Our collagen is one of the most robust collagens on the market. It's got 5 types in it. Most people just have type 1 and type 3. We have types that target not just hair, skin, and nails, but joints and cartilage and gut health. And we've been able to dig deeper into some categories where I felt like we could have an impact on people's quality of life. And I think that's what we can really do with supplements, is impact people's quality of life. Something like Testaplex. Not everyone wants to go get TRT from a clinic. And some people are not going to, take a full PCT like they would maybe from being enhanced or taking a SARM cycle or a prohormone cycle. And so we've got, milk thistle, NAC, a ton of other PCT ingredients in Testaplex. So it has a ton of health benefits beyond just being a testosterone booster for somebody. We've seen it boost people's point counts up to 250, 300 points even.
So what are the benefits of boosting your testosterone?
A lot of people, like, this is starting to become more common knowledge because it's in a lot of marketing pitches, but there's a lot of things in our environment, plastic bottles, stuff like that, in the water, the tap water, tons of things that are reducing our natural testosterone levels. Obviously, if you do anything enhanced or extracurricular that can take back your normal production ability for your hormones. So what Testaplex does is it's got a couple different ingredients. It's got a patented or trademarked ingredient called SA3X, spilanthes extract, proven to boost your testosterone count and free testosterone. Just read another study about it the other day, and it's had a significant impact for people in the studies. Fadoja, Tonkat Ali, big buzzwords right now on
I've
social media.
yeah, I've seen a couple of
So
ads that I mean, you hear them on the radio, you see them on
they're not undiscovered ingredients. They've been around for a long time. Very effective at boosting testosterone. So we have a great mix of all three of those ingredients. A lot of those are very common in a lot of testosterone boosters, but we choose to just put a higher level in than most brands and most people will. I'd put our test booster up against almost any of them on the market. A lot of people will say that. Ours is 8 capsules per serving. So it's packed out with ingredients, and we make it that way on purpose. We want it to be a top of the line, quality of life
right.
changing product, and that's what it does. So super proud of that product. Relabeled, rebranded. We made some slight formula changes last year, and from a sales standpoint, it really hasn't missed a beat. We haven't had negative feedback. Customers are still very happy with it. And we have people that are just on auto subscribe, tons of people on auto subscribe,
Yeah.
either from their store or from like our online platform for the brand, um, and just really love it. So just another example of how you can change an outlook. And I think if you can feel a boost in the testosterone. Like it will totally change your outlook. A lot of people don't understand what they're missing. And for me, like I had taken a lot of different, like I said, enhanced products. I
Mhm.
tried pro hormones, I tried SARMs, a lot of what was on the market 10, 15 years ago. Because I was curious. I want to know
Right.
what it did. Like, and the deeper I got into it, the more intrigued I got, and very methodical, kind of like studied myself, and I'm pretty sure I did affect my natural production. So by the time I was 26, um, I had borderline low testosterone, and I had a lot of the symptoms, and I could not get TRT, and that was extremely frustrating. So I took some of these products like this. They weren't as well dosed as Testaplex is. They did help, but that just shows you to the degree of what more a product like that,
Yeah.
properly formulated with more ingredients, could help. So eventually, I did get fully enhanced. Have taken TRT. I did bodybuilding, so I kind of have had some different experiences with that. But I've also been natural too, like leading up to trying to conceive Lila. I was natural for almost a year. Came
Probably
all the way
probably a good
off
idea.
everything. Yeah, well, so your counts for sperm can go up and all that stuff. So not to dig too deep into it, but yeah, I mean, and I tried all of our test boosters here at the store, especially Testaplex, the old version, the new version. Kind of studied how I felt without TRT, and I think at some point everybody should be on it. So, but that's a personal choice,
There
like,
you
and
go.
that's a commitment. Like, if you're going to bodybuild and take testosterone and other, things, if you're going to be enhanced, like it is going to affect the trajectory of what your natural hormone production can be. So, it's a life changing choice. So, anybody that's thinking about it, people joke about all these compounds and Tren and Deca on social media, and it's like all those compounds have serious implications and consequences. So, if you're going to make a lifestyle change like that to bodybuild, it's not a decision you should take lightly, and full sending anything like the commitment, great, but like you're committed to something, you need to know what the implications of that are.
What's it gonna do to you?
Yeah.
Because it
So
can be rough.
big tangent there through hormones and everything else, but like
Not get
that's
after
been
it.
a big part of my journey. Not just really mostly before I had the store. So
I mean, you
um,
clearly speak with a lot of intent and enthusiasm behind the supplements. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
sure.
So you have a clear passion for it. Was there a passion prior to you finding supplements in bodybuilding that you wanted to pursue, or was you just kind of looking around until you found bodybuilding? It's like, oh, this is it.
I mean, yeah, it definitely struck a chord in me. I think I know we've talked about this before, and I usually talk about this just about on every podcast I'm on. Is that when I was in college, I got a DUI,
Oh,
and that was a big catalyst for me getting into fitness originally. So I really didn't have anything I was really good at. I mean,
okay.
I worked hard, like didn't really have a passion in my career at that point, and I really didn't know what my career was going to be. So it's kind of rudderless. And I think the gym was an anchor for me to go and be productive on a daily basis and show progress. And I needed that. Especially when I was in college, when your proclivities are like, go do whatever, you know, can we party 5 or 6 days out of the week and still maybe hopefully pass our classes and this and that.
Maybe.
When I transferred over to Wichita State, my first semester, I got 2 Ds. I got kicked off my scholarship.
Uh-oh.
I got a DUI. Yeah, all within that first like 4 or 5 months, just because I was not prepared to live on my own, didn't have the self-control. And so the real world taught me some lessons really quickly. So when I got the DUI, obviously I got arrested. You get fingerprinted, and I remember thinking at that point in the process, like, wow, this night definitely didn't go how I thought it would. Number one, and number two, as I was getting fingerprinted, I was like, wow, like I'm a criminal. Like I really don't see really never saw myself as this, or this being a point in my life that I would reach. But like, this is where I'm at. This is what I've done so far. And gosh, what are my parents going to think? Like all those thoughts were swirling around too, right? Like, and I got fingerprinted, thought about how I was a criminal, and I was sitting in the drunk tank for the rest of the night, and couldn't sleep, stayed up all night, just thinking about it. I made some commitments to myself while I was laying on the cold floor there, concrete floor, and was worried about, there's about 20 other people in there, and you don't know if something's going to happen or not. I'd never been to jail before, right? So just a different experience, and really just a shock to the system. And I needed that. And some things came very clear through that. I needed to make some commitments. I wasn't going to drink for 6 months to make sure that I wasn't an alcoholic, minimum. And really it lasted longer than that. If there wasn't a plan to not drink and drive, then I was going to be the plan, like period.
Be the driver.
Yes. And that I needed some consistency in my life. So I was going to commit to working out 5 days a week. That started with going to the apartment gym. Literally the next morning I got out, I went to the gym after I had, of course, got some sleep. Called my parents. I told them what happened. I got my car taken away for at least a month. Couldn't drive for a month or two. Yeah. Then I got the breathalyzer installed, but held to that commitment of going to the gym. And really after that, it turned into like the most positive force that I've almost ever encountered, I think, like for my life. So that was the big turning point for me. And then from fitness kind of came supplements. So like I figured out how I could have $100 a month out of my budget to, not that I was any good at budgeting, but that was what I could afford to spend on supplements that month. Like, and so I'd go get like a pre-workout and creatine and protein, or a pre-workout and BCAAs or what have you, like, and man, I was fascinated, just made crazy progress, super committed. You know, they say you can't see the progress until about 20 weeks when you start to make a change like that in the lifestyle. People can usually see it within 10 weeks, but you can't see it until longer. And so I remember the first couple of times people were like, man, like this going to the gym shit is really doing something for you.
Your arms getting bigger, big guy.
Yeah, I mean, they're like
thickness in you.
They're like, wow, like, you know, you're not skinny fat anymore. Like you're starting to get skinny ripped. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And so like, just like accelerated into it, man. And when I found that consistency in going to the gym led to that success and those results, I was able to apply that into kind of like into my career and other things. And the gym has just been a stabilizing and positive influence for me. So I've been going less recently, and I can tell a difference when I go now, like, and just brought me back to like, hey, this is where I started. This is where a lot of my successes come from. Like, this is not a part of me that I can lose without detriment to everything else in my life, my relationships, me being a husband, me being a dad. Like, this is a core part of me that I need, and it's a part of the discipline. You know, not negotiating with myself. My back hurts. I feel like shit. Whatever. I still need to go and do something. Yeah. You know. So, but yeah, that DUI, that was a big turning point for me. Really reset the trajectory of my life. Like, because I was very unhappy with the person that I was when I took a hard look at myself. And so I mean, I still will drink occasionally, but man, it was very rare after that. Really didn't party much. Like,
no longer getting sloshed at parties.
Yeah, going man. And that, what I tell people, I was like, you know, when you think about it, like, you're searching for something if that's all that you're doing. I think, truthfully, like, you're searching for purpose. And our purpose is to be fulfilled by either serving other people or finding what that purpose is. Like
Yes.
it's not in those things. Going out is cool, but it doesn't make you any money. It
No.
doesn't advance your life. Like unless your kid taking customers out to drinks or whatever, but that's not really going out. If you that's a business meeting with a purpose a lot of the time.
And a
So
write-off.
that's true. We love write-offs.
But
So
going out to just go party downtown, if you want to go to Old Town, stuff
yeah.
like that, dude, I used to do that all the time. And Friday, Saturday night, you'd spend $120, and that's if you're trying to get a girl, you're buying a girl drinks, buying all your friends drinks, and then you get drunk, and then you go buy food, and so by the end of the night, and if you get tagged by the police, catch a DUI.
Yep.
So I mean, it's just like there's a lot of stupid risk involved if you look at it and you go, you know what, that's dumb.
Well, the only reason I would go out was because I worked at the bars for a couple of years.
No joke, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked at Pump House
Barback or bouncer?
Dude, bouncer, bar back, bartender, a little bit
All
of
the
everything.
Hats. All the hats.
Yeah, like I would help out just kind of wherever needed. But yeah, I mean, I worked security until I could bar back. Made great money bar backing. And so then I was working. I mean, I really realized I needed to be productive and not sit around on the weekends and spend money. That was kind of a next stage of evolution for me beyond working out, was that I worked my Monday through Friday at my salary job, and then I worked Friday night, Saturday night at the bars.
Oh, wow.
And so then I was working 6.5 days a week, still bodybuilding, making some extra money on the side. And even when me and Kelsey were together, we both worked part-time, like at the bar, just to, that's how we lived in her brother's basement for very cheap. So we saved up the money to start the store, to be honest with you. Like,
no shit.
Yeah, for basically almost 4 years, we lived in her brother's basement, $500 a month to rent the basement out, shared some of the bills. And yeah, that's how she went back to college, not back to college. She went to college, just started later on after a couple years after high school, so
Medical
she had
field, I
worked,
believe, right?
yeah, she's an MRI technologist now, but yeah, she had to go back to school and do that. And she just had never finished anything beyond high school. And so like when we got together, I just like, dude, you can do whatever you want. It's just, we have to decide it's a priority. And so we essentially started and ran the store, sent her to college. I traveled, like, we juggled, and we still do, like, and that's just always how we've operated. And we just go to the next level. And I think the biggest thing we've learned is that you can adapt to anything. You just have to decide and not negotiate with yourself on the outcome being less than what you're capable of. Like, I told her when we got married and when we had Lila that, like, we still should be able to achieve things. And like, we'll balance that with family, but like, you still should be able to go after your goals. And whether it's being a mom or getting your business to X level or achieving XYZ with your career, like whatever those things are, like, you still should be able to pursue those. And I think a lot of people get bogged down, and I can see how easy it is to get bogged down and say, well, because I have a kid, I can't do this. And it's like, how can I do this has really always been my approach. And like, I just keep asking that question. And some days we don't get to it, and some days we do get to it,
I mean, having the kid is the best reason to go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
You want to provide a better life for them, a better outcome, and a better jumping off platform for whatever she wants to do someday. Yeah.
Right. I mean, Riker's the same reason for me when he was born. I mean, I was doing nothing with my life. I was living in a big house that was owned by a firefighter, a bunch of roommates called Madhouse. And it was 6 bedrooms upstairs, 2 bedrooms downstairs. And it was exactly what you think it was.
Bro house.
Oh, 100%. And a couple of us worked for like a pizza joint. So we would deliver pizzas, make a bunch of, tips, play video games, get drunk, throw parties, get hot, like 100% just bro house. And then all of a sudden, Riker comes along and is like, fuck.
Yeah.
I have to do something now. I can no longer just be, selfish, because that's all that activity is. It's just selfish activity at that point in time. Now you have to be selfless. Like you have this little, when they come out, they little too. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, I remember holding it for the first time. I was like, fuck, all right, figure it out. And that's it. You just start having to figure it out. And I mean, having a kid, I think it goes one or two ways. You're either going to be kind of like a dependent and kind of suck stuff off of the government, or you're gonna get your shit together because of that child, go out there and get work done to provide for that kid.
I think, yeah, what you said about, we keep talking about it, is the most valuable skill you can have is the figure it out skill. Like,
So
I
important.
don't, like, 3-4 years ago, well, 5 years ago now, I knew nothing about selling supplements to other supplement stores, or
And now you
how
sound like
to
a damn
enhance their
master.
business. Like, and I mean, last year, I mean, I started in March with the company, and we were blessed to open like 70 doors. I can't even believe that I would even have that many customers, let alone, be able to achieve that level of success with a new brand. When I moved brands, I had no idea how it would go, but like, it came from figuring it out every single time I've had to step into a different role or with a new company. Like, I've had to figure an increasing amount of things out. And so you just dive right in, just like I figured out how to run a supplement store and how to make it work. Like, we didn't come up with a system, like, or anything. We didn't have the benefit of working at another store like Complete Nutrition or Total Nutrition or all the other stores that are out there where people came up under a system. Like, here's how you talk to every single person that comes in the door. It was like, my thing was just ended up being like, hey, how can I be of service? And I asked that question every single time I'm here to all the customers in one way or another. And then I asked that to my customers that are stores, and
Yeah.
now to my kind of customers and partners that are brands. Like, how can I come on and enhance the business? How can I be of service? Like, and for me, like, that's become like a way of life at kind of at every level. So that led me to say a lot of yeses early on, but now it's like, now I have to be, you have to be cognizant of what you commit to and make sure you can follow through with the commitments. And so sometimes it just says, hey, like, I don't know, I don't want to say yes right now. I think we need to, take a beat on this, like, or just say, hey, I really wish I could be at that event, but I can't, man. Like,
Yeah.
I have a commitment that I cannot get away from, or it's like, hey, I committed that I would travel X amount every month to my wife, and I'm really not going to exceed that, or I'm going to have some months where I exceed it and some months where I balance it by being
Right.
home more often. Like, so just, I mean, but
Yeah,
we've
figure
got to
it
get
out.
out there and get in front of people. At the bottom line, that's what we have to do. And so, some days that's what I say to her, and some days it's like, kind of weighing like where my time is most effectively spent too. So there's a lot of no's and there's a lot of yeses, and sometimes it's difficult to know which one you're going to put out there, to that opportunity.
Absolutely.
So
So as we come to a wrap here, I have kind of formulated my own like anchor question. This has
okay,
kind of been going to everybody. You wake up in the morning, Caleb, you're getting ready for work. You go to open the door to leave the house. Outside, you see 18-year-old Caleb standing right in front of you. You guys are able to lock eyes. You cannot tell him all the secrets, but you can give him a piece of advice. What do you tell that young man?
keep working hard, figure it out.
That's important right there.
That's what it takes, I think. So, I mean, the biggest thing like that I want to bring into my organizations, that I want to hire, that I want to partner with, like, is somebody that has that quality, the figure it out quality, and like the willingness to dig in, like when
Yeah.
that gets difficult. So, like, yeah, work hard, be committed to something and get, like, hone your skills at it. Like, if you can't be excellent, like even at the small things, like, I wanted to be, the best at washing trucks, when that's all I did for the company my dad worked for when I was in sixth, seventh, eighth grade. I did it almost all the way up to the first year of college. I did that for years, like, and I want to be the best at it. So I figured out how I could do it faster and better and streamline and do 5 trucks in a day instead of 2.
Yeah.
Like, and so just kind of that relentless commitment to get better, and to improve and to take to that next level. Like, I think that's probably one of the most important skill sets you can bring, is just that initiative and that willingness to figure it out and become better. So,
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with
of
me.
course.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
This has been another episode of Networking with Nick here at this amazing store, The Arsenal with Caleb. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, I guess is what the kids say. Other than that, we'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
That's it.